there and how legitimate the lethal threat is. I do believe that. I think that there's a lot of nuance there. But all I know is I've seen a lot of Marvel movies, and in the part where the good guy gets framed, and he turns around and there are a bunch of angry cops and civilians staring at him, he drops the gun and puts his hand up in the air, and he doesn't unleash the fucking Iron Man laser and cut down 300 people.
Does he know what One Piece is?
Luffy.
Is it Luffy? No way!
Yeah.
That's sick, dude. We think the Houthis Ansar Allah is doing what Luffy would do.
Have you noticed that many people can't talk about current political events without equating them to something in popular fiction? You want to talk about how much you don't like the Trump administration, make sure you equate the administration to the Empire from Star Wars, and Trump is the Emperor. Someone did something wrong, Marvel slop character Scrunkly Blorbo wouldn't have done it that way. Need a justification for your awful political opinions? Just equate yourself to a roguish hero from fiction number 5513 and convince yourself that you have the same problems. My problem is not that it's utilized. Famously, people from both antiquity and the modern age have used fictional stories to justify their political goals or viewpoints. Famously, Mussolini used the Aeneid to justify his imperial ambitions. The Aeneid was also written as an ego piece for Emperor Augustus. But that is where I have my problems. When applied to real life, fictional stories lack nuance, and the Aeneid is fictional, there's a damn chimera in it, but it was utilized to help justify political goals and aspirations. I'm not a perfect person. I enjoy my fair share of yelling 1984 at things I don't like, but I'm not reliant on a work of fiction to dictate my opinions. Discourse, especially from the left wing, appears to be completely reliant on works of fiction to dictate and validate their political opinions. An example I want to bring up now is that of Guy Christensen's post, where he justified the murder of 2 Israeli embassy workers as an act of resistance because they were tangentially related to the human rights violations in Gaza. This is America. Say whatever you want. But why do you have to end your justification of murder with equating your case to Star Wars? Which is what Guy does at the end of his justification video. Can you think of any reason why equating your cause to Star Wars might be a bit ridiculous? If the answer you choose was, because it's fiction, you are correct. Listen, I like Star Wars, up until 2015, and then again in 2016, and then in 2019, but then nothing ever again. But when I think of justifications for political opinions, my first thought is not, I'm just like Luke Skywalker because I've assigned my political enemies to be the Empire in my head. That's ridiculous, and honestly quite regressive to the discourse surrounding political discussion. Some may respond to the objection, but noble, using popular media to simplify a complex political message or movement is useful in getting normies interested or aware about a political cause. And my response would be, yeah, that's a bad thing. Think about it like this. Star Wars portrays the Empire as nothing more than a one-dimensional bad guy to be overcome by our roguish heroes and eliminated from the galaxy. Unless you venture into the realm of legends or books in Star Wars, you would know that very little about the Empire outside of their one-dimensional role as a bad guy group simply to be overcome. Utilizing something as simplistic as that to justify your political opinions to normies is wrong because it destroys nuance, which is why people do it. You don't want the people who are protesting in the street or those who pull off acts of political violence thinking about the greater nuance of the act they are performing. You want them to either shout the slogan or pull the trigger without any thought. But that is only one thought. Do I really think that all these talking heads use popular media as a tool to dumb down the message to normies so all nuance is lost? No. I think it's a tool for those who are not familiar with historic trends in politics, human nature, and in politics in general to find a way to be involved. But even that is not the right way. Politics used to be boring. You had to read up on issues and listen to elites talk about why you should care about a certain topic, and then listen to the other guys say the complete opposite thing. Now politics has become America's new favorite pastime. Has anyone gotten better at politics? No, we just got more involved in them. Normies use popular culture as a way to form their opinions, and it's not a surprise that Hollywood is very left-leaning. When someone sees their newest slop created by Disney, and they see the one-dimensional bad guy do something from a position of power, they will immediately make comparisons to things they see on the news, in order to reinforce their own belief system, no matter how far-fetched or wrong the comparison may be. This is not their own fault, they are simply consuming media that was made to push an often unnuanced message to the viewer, and they're just responding to it. So what is the purpose of this rambling? Politics is hard, and understanding it is boring. And that should be the bar to enter it. Utilizing popular culture to form an opinion on real-life events is like watching Gone with the Wind as a substitute for researching the Civil War. You'll come away with a skewed perspective. I'm not saying not to utilize comparisons at all, but be tactful with comparisons. Comparisons often lack nuance, and if your intentions are to dehumanize the other side or to reduce their argument, then you're just doing a disservice to yourself and your side. If you get your political opinions from Marvel movies, comics, dissing slop, or fiction in general, then you're being an idiot. Politics suck, and understanding the nuances of political stances is important for a healthy society. Don't take this as an attack on utilizing fiction to punctuate messages, but make sure you're not using it as a crutch to which you are basing your entire worldview on. TLDR, go read a book or watch a debate. Don't base your entire worldview off something a hack Hollywood writer wrote down to make his slop seem more profound. See you in 6 months. I'm going back to my New York hole.
I just think if you don't read the newspaper and the only TV you watch is the MTV, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Stop fighting the last war, Hank. Women got the vote, and there's nothing we can do about it.